He is shocking everyone. This is huge for the Devils. We've seen it. Management took note of it. They went for it. Implications here. Let's talk about it. Welcome in to Devils Digest. We'll be here all summer long talking Devils. Hopefully you guys join us. Hit the subscribe button. Get that number up to 100%. Now, the World Championships just came to an end. Devils had a few players playing in this tournament. Here are the final stat lines. Timo Meier, 10 points, 10 games. Lenny Hemenyoa, 4 points, 8 games. Jonas Siegenthaler, 4 points, 9. And Nico Hischier, tournament cut a little bit short, 3 points, 4 games. Now, obviously, the Devils had a bunch of players playing for Switzerland. They had a pretty good tournament. They got all the way to the gold medal game against Team USA. Tage Thompson ended it 2 minutes into overtime, a 1-0 game. But obviously, really good for Switzerland. And the Devils players, a big part of that. You know, obviously, Nico Hischier got hurt early, still the captain of the team. They probably, maybe had a little bit better luck in the gold medal game if he's playing. Now, good news is, injury not supposed to bleed into next season. Nico Hischier should be fine for training camp, but his tournament did get cut short, so, that wasn't the greatest thing in the world. Now, when you look at this tournament and look at it in totality, I mean, there's definitely one player who's, stands apart. Timo Meier. Timo Meier, point per game player, got a team Switzerland that, maybe lacked NHL talent compared to other teams all the way to the gold medal game. And he was arguably their best player. He finished top 3 on the team in points, point per game player. And, this isn't the first time we've seen Timo Meier be significant in international play. Really put his name out there. Let's just backtrack a little bit. Go back 2022. And you looked at Team Switzerland. Obviously, we're all very excited. Nico Hischier is going to go over there, hopefully be a big part to that team. Well, there was another player who was a pretty big part to that team, Timo Meier. He also went a point per game player in that tournament as well, 8 points in 8 games. Now, you look at the situation where he was in. Needed a new contract. San Jose, not a very good team. Trying to get a little bit younger, rebuilding. Timo Meier was going to be available at the trade deadline. Now, with New Jersey, similar situation, maybe a little bit, past in their rebuild. They kind of have the pieces. They just need them to develop. Well, the Devils were developed by February. They were a top team in the NHL. They were looking to, make some noise in the playoffs. And who came around? Who did management take a note on? Timo Meier. All of a sudden, it was Timo Meier to New Jersey. You wanted to bring him over to the Devils. You thought he would be a fit. Guy who was going to went on to score 40 goals that season. Came over, a little bit different. I mean, there's not a lot of power forwards in the NHL who can score 40 goals. Devils, a little bit of a lighter team, very quick team, very skilled team. They did not have a Timo Meier type of player. So it was definitely someone who they wanted to bring over. Now, after, he comes over to New Jersey, you give up a first-round pick, you give up a former first-round pick. You definitely showed that you wanted to keep him here. You wanted to get him long-term. Didn't have a contract. Kind of a reason why San Jose moved off of him. Then you signed him 8 years, $8 million. So now you know it's real. Now you know that, Timo Meier and the Devils, it's not a short-term thing. Like, that was, I guess, something that was maybe a risk when you traded for him, that he was going to be an unrestricted free agent come summer. It wasn't certain that he was going to sign New Jersey. But when you give up a former first-round pick, a first-round pick, plus more, you're kind of saying how valuable he is to you. They saw how well he played with Nico Hischier at the Worlds in 2022. Now, was it a shame that we didn't get to see that again with Nico Hischier going down early in this tournament? 100%. But seeing how well he played again really gives you optimism going into next year. Because when you look at, Timo Meier's 2 full years with the Devils, you can see goals are a little down, points are a little down. There's been times where He hasn't been, a huge factor in games. He had a couple, hard stretches this season. But we know when March comes around, Timo Meier is arguably the best Devil. I mean, go back a year ago, the 2023-2024 season, he had 28 goals. Yeah, 17 of them came from March on. He really kind of turned it around. And he's found ways from, towards the end of the season to still have respectable point totals. But like I said, you signed him 8 years, around $8 million. You're looking for a little bit more than respectable point totals. And do I think Timo Meier can get there? Absolutely. I know he can. He's shown it before. He scored 40 goals just 2 years ago. I mean, this is not something where, the player, is washed or, he's not going to ever return to form. No, that's not what it is. The problem is the start to season. And he had problems with that in San Jose. Maybe not, he doesn't really get off to the quickest start. But seeing him, translate his play, how he ended the year into the World Championships and be an impactful player on a team that did really, really well, it's definitely good news for the Devils. That's one of the Devils', primary goals for next season is figuring out a way to get Timo Meier started early. Because we know when Timo Meier's playing well, it adds a different element to the Devils. Like, you already know Jack Hughes, Jesper, Bratt, they're going to score. Nico, Hischier, you need him to have a defensive matchup. Yeah, that's no problem. We know those types of things, and you always feel better when you know what you're going to get. Timo Meier, when you can know that he's going to go out there and he's going to be an impactful player on the score sheet, because, he usually is just, away from the score sheet, but on the score sheet, you're in a much better position. And those type of players where you invest 8 years, $8 million, draft picks, prospects, those types of players, you find ways to make the rest of your roster work with them. You find ways to get Timo Meier into his sweet spots. He is a finisher. Maybe not so much a creator of the play, but then you got to go find someone who's going to create for him, because you need to use all of that. He scored 40 goals in this league. Scoring 40 doesn't happen by accident. Being a 70-point player multiple times doesn't happen by accident. This is a player who you want to take full advantage of him. That's why you gave him 8 years. That's why you gave him $8 million. So definitely something the Devils should be looking to in the offseason. Going back, just, bring up everyone's stats one more time. Yoa, nice tournament. Point every other game. Jonas Siegenthaler, obviously a little bit more on the defensive side, played well. And it was really nice to see with Jonas Siegenthaler, a player who was injured and might not have returned. You can see that he seems like he's kind of healed up. I don't think he plays in this tournament if he's still injured or if he got rushed back. So it seems like Jonas Siegenthaler is all healthy, ready to go for training camp. So that's obviously huge news. We know Nico Hischier is going to be back, not supposed to bleed into next season. And then Jacob Markstrom, he won bronze with Team Sweden. He had an .894 save percentage, but, we know how well Jacob Markstrom played this season. Obviously, a little bit of a rough spot after the injury, but, you always go back to your ace, and he's going to figure it out. He figured it out. He should be good going into next season. That's going to be a topic of discussion next year. Do the Devils re-sign Jacob Markstrom? Do they bring Jacob Markstrom back? I think you guys know my opinion. I say absolutely. I don't think it's going to be a huge, in terms of term and money, not going to be huge. Like I said, I always feel more comfortable and better when I know what I'm getting. And you know what you're getting out of Jacob Markstrom. Hopefully you guys hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys all real soon. But thanks for tuning in, and hopefully you guys hit subscribe. See you guys soon.